Hey there, I am here with Adrianne Weissman. She is the president of Evelyn and Arthur. Adrianne, thanks for chatting with me.
You're quite welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, before we dive in and talk about a number of different topics, tell us a little bit about your business.
We have 9 women's clothing stores in Florida. They are on the west coast of Florida and on this east coast of Florida. They cater to women ages about 35 to 80 years old. We've been here for over 30 years. My parents started the business in 1985, and my husband and I joined the business in 1986.
So that's awesome. Congratulations, 30 years. That is amazing. And your parents started the business when they moved from New York to Florida.
They were, I called them snowflakes originally because many years ago they had a place on South Ocean Boulevard in Palm Beach, and they would come down for long weekends every other, a couple of times a month or once a month. And then they moved down semi-permanently, and then they moved down permanently, and they got bored. And so my father was a manufacturer of women's sportswear, and he ran into somebody that he had done business with, and they said, "You should open a store." And so they decided to open a store, and the first store was in Palm Beach. And they started to bring in lines from manufacturers like Anne Klein II, Perry Ellis, Liz Claiborne, and lines that were carried in the department stores. And so the store was successful. It was very exciting. It was on the corner of Royal Point, Sienna Way, a little bit from the Breakers Hotel.
Oh, nice.
They opened in February, which is the height of season. Little did they know that was like, the time of year.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And then what you find out, and then from there they decided to open the store in Manalapan. But what you find out is the department stores carried the same lines that we carried in the store, which was a conflict because the department stores get deliveries first. The department stores get markdown money. The department stores get a lot of benefits because they buy such quantities. So, and they also the lines don't cater to the climate and the lifestyle at the time of the women in Florida. So my parents were trying to figure out how to have merchandise that would be great for the women that they were catering to, and really at the time what my mother wanted. And my mother at that time was about 52 years old. So my father, who had been a manufacturer in New York, went back to his manufacturing roots and found people who could manufacture for us the fabrics and the colors that we needed all year round in Florida. And that became like our trademark. So we would bring in pants and sweater sets and silk cable sweater sets and coordinating pants, and it was just what the ladies needed for the country clubs and the theater and all the things that they were doing, and what my mother was wearing, and it was absolutely perfect. And so we got out of a lot of what the department stores were carrying, and we didn't have to compete with that area.
That's so awesome and so true, because when I go to the store during the winter and you're like, there's so much winter stuff for up north, I'm like, who wears this in Florida?
Right.
Or when? Like one time a year?
Right.
So did you always know that you were going to be part of the family business?
Well, no. No. I started out, so my father was a manufacturer in New York for my whole life, okay? I grew up with his business of, he had factories on Long Island where I grew up. We used to go to the factory and watch the knitting machines make the clothing that he was making. It was polyester double knit. It was fabulous. I mean, listen, I was going into the buying world, and since my father did a lot of business with Macy's in New York, we figured this was going to be my avenue of life. I did an internship in Macy's, New York, and I didn't even start in ready-to-wear. I didn't start in clothing. I went into housewares.
Really?
Yeah, which is hard goods, which is really what I loved. And I ended up in electronics.
Oh, fun. So that's kind of cool. You got to see different areas.
Different areas.
When you talk about your path to success, I still think, I mean, in hindsight, it's always 2020, right? Like in your 20s, you think back, oh my gosh, I would have done this or I could have done that. But even as you continue to move forward in your career, how do you know sometimes what are those right next steps or that right career path, especially for those that are in that place of, do I want to make a transition fully in my career, the industry, the kind of business that I'm doing? Like, how would you suggest some women go about doing that?
Guide my daughters. Okay. There was a certain situation, and it finally, one of my kids got to a point where I said to her, you need to quit. You need to quit your job. And you don't need to quit. I said, you do need to quit. I said, you need to call in sick tomorrow. Okay. You need to go look for another job. Okay. And you need to get out of there. Okay. This situation's not good.
Yeah.
Okay. She called in sick the next day. She found another job. Okay. And by Friday, this was a Tuesday, on Friday she had the next job and she was out of there. I mean, she gave 2 weeks notice, whatever it was.
Right.
Okay. And her career path is fantastic.
How do you feel leadership has changed over the years? Because with the more like Google type companies and the environments in which they want their people to feel appreciated and they're giving more, kind of having that environment of like a safer, more comfortable environment to their employees. Do you feel like leadership has changed, or you still feel like it's somewhat of that old school, people still not treating, like their bosses not treating people the right way?
The whole thing with the Google, with technology, is that you're on 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can be reached every minute of every day. There is no, I feel awful for, kids today whose bosses don't have an off switch. And I have an off switch. Okay? I am very careful that I do not, text or email anybody in the company after, 6:30 at night. I mean, really try not to. I try not to on the weekends. I won't send an email on a Saturday or a Sunday, because I'm thinking of it. We used to have a button that you could say send on Monday, but I don't know where that button went to right now. I'm still trying to find it. But, I try to maybe send it to myself so I remember to send it on Monday. But I do that because I'm just very aware. But otherwise, people, you get emails all day and all night, and it's you can't turn it off. I have manufacturers, I have people who send me emails all day and all night, and you're reading your emails, you're playing on your phone, your iPad, whatever it is, and so then you pick up your email and you're going and you go to bed and you're aggravated.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm in business with my husband, so we have a rule. I had this rule a long time ago, and that 9 o'clock at night, we're done. I will not discuss business after 9 o'clock at night. Okay?
And you guys do that?
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. We could wake up 7 o'clock in the morning, we could start talking about business, but 9 o'clock at night, we will not discuss business, because I'm not going to bed with that being the last thing on my, yes, it's on my mind, but not where we're discussing it. Right.
For those women that are watching, and I know some of them might be thinking, this is all great and I want to shut it off, but I have to get my work done, and then I have to get home and feed the kids and do and be a wife and do all these other things, and they get really stressed out. I know I speak to a lot of women, they're so stressed that they work so much, but they say, I have to go home and get back on my computer. I have to. They feel like they're gonna get fired or they're not, or the client's going to be upset, if they have their own business. So what do you say to those women that I feel like there's a lot of that, a lot of I have to do this?
And I say, no. I say, you got to have a life. You have to.
And I love, before when we were talking, when you were bringing up the idea of talking about the challenges that you're going through, because I think oftentimes we just have these struggles going on in ourselves, and we don't want to share them with people. They won't understand. People won't understand. But everyone's going through something you're going through. It's some of which are worse, some of which not as bad. But so the idea of I don't know why we have an issue to ask people for help or to tell people what we're going through so that they can share, hey, I've been through this, or this happened to me. That's why, talking to people like you who have been through all of these things can share some of the challenges that you've gone through, and it wasn't this like great easy path to success on your way to becoming the president of Evelyn and Arthur.
No, it wasn't this great easy success at all. Okay, I mean, I went through a lot of family dynamics to get to this point, which was a very interesting experience. I learned a lot. Yeah. So this is the greatest lesson you will ever learn in your life. Okay, this is the thing that for the last it's like 11 years at this point has kept me so sane. Okay, so if you're in a situation and somebody is like, and you want to do battle, okay, but it's not gonna help. Okay, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna teach the person anything. They're not gonna learn a lesson. There's nothing gonna be gained from this exchange. Okay, you just don't engage.
Yeah.
You just say okay, and that's it. You're done. And you have to just have the confidence in yourself that I don't care. I don't care that I didn't win. I don't care that I didn't teach them anything because they weren't going to learn anyway.
Right.
Anyway, it didn't matter. And you become like at peace.
Yeah, that is such a great lesson. And you know what? It's similar to, and I always tell I think everyone should read The Four Agreements.
Oh,
that book, The Four Agreements. It's an amazing book, and everybody needs to read it because it has those lessons of don't take anything personal, don't take anything personally, which is kind of like that. Just being okay with you don't need to.
Right.
Like, it's not going to change anyways. Just be done with it. I don't know why we sometimes hold on to this. They need to believe that I'm right.
That's
or
right.
agree with me. No. Well, I feel like I could talk to you all day.
Sorry.
No, you're so awesome. You are so awesome and full of such great stories and information. Before we go, what's one piece of advice that you can share with the people watching? Like, what's the best piece of business advice that you've gotten?
Oh, my latest one is, as I told everybody, this is what I want everybody to say. Is sure, no problem, I'll take care of it.
Sure, no problem, I'll take care of it. I like it.
You can say what you need to take care of the situation, but you just say, sure, no problem, I'll take care of it.
There you go. Good advice. Well, Adrian, thank you so much. And thanks for all you do for the community and for the Women's Foundation. We really appreciate it.
And thanks again for having me.
Absolutely.